in these streets every day, I can't get no rest. Early morning, niggas sleep, I'm running to the check. I put one foot on the floor and one foot on their necks. All this work that I put in, I earned my respect. Ain't believe me when I told them niggas I'm the one. I was putting in that work while niggas having fun. I'ma do this for the times when they ain't give me none. I took it personal, I swear that this a different run.
Good afternoon, Pretty and Pride listeners. Welcome to episode 2, our Valentine's special. We're not really going to be talking about Valentine's Day too much, but it is the 15th that we're recording. Ken, how was your week?
Week was pretty good. Not too crazy, not too ridiculous. You know, if I just unplug from everything happening in the world outside of my house.
Yeah, great. Did you do anything special for Valentine's Day?
I did. I had a lovely meal with my spouse. He cooked. But prior to that, I actually took my dog to a 2-hour vet appointment. Consulted with a doctor. Very exciting stuff. So yeah, it was a great Valentine's Day.
Great Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Outside of Valentine's Day, happy Black History Month. That's very important.
Yes.
It's the only thing that matters. No, but I feel like we talked about this a little last week when we were talking about the Super Bowl and Kendrick's performance. Just so great. What a great way to celebrate Black History Month.
Yeah, agreed.
In our last episode, we talked a lot about our predictions for the Super Bowl. And then once the Super Bowl happened, I feel like we didn't actually circle back to that. We were just mind blown. And we just were like, let's take some time, figure out what was happening. Yeah. As I was editing our last episode, your predictions were insane.
They were crazy.
Yeah, actually.
They were crazy. Some of them were spot on. I was correct that Peekaboo would probably be performed. He didn't come out with any marching band. He also did not start with TV Off. He ended with TV Off. But he did perform Peekaboo. He performed as Chike's verse. But he did not bring any other person out other than SZA. And in hindsight, I think that was the right move. It would have been crazy to hand that moment over to Tyler or anyone else, really. Mustard, SZA, that was enough.
That was, and can't forget Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, cannot forget. That was so, when that started and Samuel L. Jackson was on screen dressed as Uncle Sam, it was like my mouth immediately dropped open. I was like, I can't believe what's about to, because I just knew it was going to go into this place of satire on what Americanism is. And so yeah, my predictions were a little crazy. There was no bad blood sample to just nod to Taylor being in the audience. But I really appreciated that it was focused primarily on Kendrick and that he actually focused heavily on GNX. What was the most shocking part of the performance? What were you not expecting at all that happened?
I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting Samuel L. Jackson to pop up. I feel like what I was expecting him to do, not like us. I feel like I've seen a lot of people talk about how they were shocked. I mean, why wouldn't he do it?
Has to. Just got the Grammy.
But I do feel, I haven't heard anyone say this. I felt like there was a very short, half a beat pause, different than the song before he said, "Say Drake," that almost left room for this moment of is he going to say it? And it's it was so subtle that it didn't throw off the pace of the song. Mm-hmm. But it was just, even watching it and watching it back, I'm like, there's just this little beat that he takes before he says it, smiling into the camera. And I felt like that was such, I was shocked and awed. My hands flew up to cover my mouth. Not that I thought he was going to say it, but it just the way that he was teasing it through the Super Bowl, is he going to sing it? Oh, it was so freaking good. It was
that so camera cut. It's the way it moved from this wider pan directly into him turning directly to face
the way camera. That he has was avoiding the camera pretty much on the whole lead up to that. It was amazing.
I was thinking about how the ground that Kendrick had to cover physically. I know a lot of people have been talking about like the performance quality or the audio quality. All I know is that hip hop as a sport is really a lungs game. And the fact that he was moving around quite a vast amount of space, and then also having to do this breath control element, we knew he was performing live. There were no
definitely
backgrounds, like there was no pre-record. So it's like Kendrick has this habit of like maybe mixing up words. I don't know if that's like intentional, like he's intending to do that sometimes, or if he is just in the moment like, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. But I thought, considering the fact that he was performing live, I was entranced. I loved
was
the
amazing.
theme. I loved the vibe. I loved the energy. And I think watching it from home, we don't get the best perspective of just like how intense that performance is in like a 100-yard field.
I also want to talk about the way that he was able to self-edit the N-word out. I know we talked about this as we were watching the performance or right after. But I just have to say that like every freaking person that makes an excuse of like, I'm just singing the song. It's okay for me to like say it's like hard to stop.
They sound just like that.
Bro, like Kendrick did it live with his own music. Okay. Song after song.
I can't stand being at hip hop concerts knowing that I'm surrounded by a bunch of white people who are just thinking it's okay to sing along to the song.
Right.
Shut your fucking
I'd be looking too.
Travis Scott is the worst. His audience is
worst. I love Travis Scott concerts. You and I are the same on this. Like, great performer, great everything, but his fan base
is trash.
They are just hooligans. Like, I don't even know the vibes are
off.
Shit.
They're terrible.
They're trash.
Hype is there, but vibe is off.
Vibe is off.
Yeah.
Vibe is totally off. Let's talk about his bell bottoms.
Okay.
They looked so freaking good. I'm sorry. This man is bringing back. I know there's a lot of historical context into why he wore, that he always does everything for a reason. But during the performance, I was like, the way that they're perfectly cupping the shoe of his jeans and the bottom of his butt. It was so just... I loved it. I was entranced by it.
It's a bold choice for someone with his stature, I think, because I feel like they're definitely a tall person's pant. Like, tall people thrive in a good flare. So to have his 5'6.5" self wearing them around this relatively large stage was a bold choice.
I loved it.
And I'm glad that he did it unapologetically.
I'm ready to go shopping. Thank you, Kendrick, because bell bottoms have always been my favorite jean. And, we went through the skinny leg phase, and I actually hate putting skinny legs on. What do they call them? Skinny jeans. Skinny leg jeans. I hate putting them on. It's like a freaking workout. I'm shoving my foot through. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, so thank you for bringing comfort and fashion back.
Peeling them off at the end of the day.
Peeling them off.
Even though we had said last week that we were only interested in Kendrick Lamar's performance, we actually
were locked in on the game.
In this game of 0 to 24 up until the performance.
The Eagles, first of all, they played so well and they did so many fun things to see for us, for the audience, not for the Chiefs players, but like the interceptions, like, the D-line making, I think they're called the D-line making touchdowns. Like, it was actually a really great game. And I also thought that was funny that we're like, who cares? This is just no, I was locked in.
I was in.
Jalen, you did your big one, sweetheart.
Rootin'. It's interesting because it's like, I also have no idea what's going on, but it's like, I'm sitting here like, oh man, they're really putting pressure on Mahomes. I guess he's just going to play this game all about, I'm starting to narrate this freaking football game.
So fun. What I am shocked to learn post Super Bowl is Jalen Hurts is 26 years old.
That is pretty detrimental to my health.
That was news to me. So I don't want to make comments. He's a great guy and he is a very attractive man. I just did not think he was 26. Body is T though, so maybe I did think he was 26.
He definitely has the maturity of someone who's much older.
That's it. He's a mature soul.
Because he definitely,
I wonder what his star sign is.
What's
When's his birthday? Jalen Hurts astrology. Let's Google this live on air.
On air. Yeah, he definitely comes across.
I'm gonna guess Aries, but the maturity makes me think Capricorn.
Okay, I'm gonna guess. Don't tell me. I'm gonna say that he's a Cancer.
He is a drumroll, please, but don't
Pisces.
actually because I don't want to edit this out. Leo.
Ain't no fucking
Ain't
way.
no
Ain't no
way.
fucking way. What's his ascendant? What time was he born?
Oh my
Okay.
God. Jalen Hurts has a sun in Leo, a moon in Aquarius, but his rising is unknown. Thanks, Reddit. You're
God
the only,
damn it.
You're the only form of reliable Googling.
That's the one we need to know. We need to know the ascendant.
Okay,
because there's
TikTok
no way
Jalen
we
Hurts
can do it.
natal chart. I'm not going to click this. So that's a mystery. That's a mystery.
That'll remain a mystery. Yeah, he definitely has the air of someone who's like humble. So Leo was the furthest thing I
Yeah.
was going to think of.
He must be like a July Leo or something. Like,
like cusp of Cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Okay, well, thank you.
Nice
Good
tangent.
to
I'm
know,
glad we
Jaden.
know those things. What did you say his moon was in?
Aquarius.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so a fire and then an air sign.
It's a little.
He needs to have something else in there to
Yeah.
balance him out. Okay.
He's definitely got to have like an Earth moon or an Earth rising or something.
Get on my knees, pray. I'm trying to find another way. I gotta get up out the jungle, niggas killing just to eat. Them lies ain't playing fair, so it's been getting I don't get my heart.
This year is going by so fast, it feels like. I know we're only in mid-February, but time is linear, they say, but it's just feeling like it's moving so fast. And upcoming for us, as you know, I'm really excited, our first sisters trip. And we are taking on Paris.
Oh,
Paris in mid-April. Really excited, of course. And I think we're going to take our listeners along definitely with us.
You've never been.
I've never
so we've never been on a trip with just us. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. And I was like, what if we went and did like New Orleans? And Kiki's like, not Paris. So I'm super excited. There's so much to do there. I didn't get to do a lot because I was only there for such a brief period of time. I don't feel like I got to hit a lot of the touristy spots. So I'm really excited that I'm going to be getting to do those things with you. And I'm just looking forward to being able to do some of the random things, a little less of the dinner reservations, those Michelin
Your
star
gourmand
restaurants.
experience across.
A little less of that, like linen napkin experience and a little bit more of like the bistro experience. So
La Patisserie.
yeah, since we're taking our listeners along, I think it would be fun if we like talked about some of the things that we're looking forward to or like what we think our general plans are going to be.
I'm looking forward to speaking French. I know this is so niche, but I used to be fluent in French. I took it for a very long time, all through high school, all through college. No one else speaks French in America, so I lost it. And I've been trying for years to claw back to fluency. And so I'm looking forward to being shot down by the Parisians and saying, stop it. I can speak English.
Not what
So
they'll do.
I'm planning to pretend to speak Spanish. So now I got to learn 2 languages.
That's not what they'll do. They will respond to you in
Maybe,
French.
They're
I only would say bonjour, and they would be and I'd have to be like, I'm not French. I don't speak French. So they will for sure love the fact that you're speaking French. They will
Je suis
respond to you in French.
Québécoise, mais.
So they'll love it, and they're I thought the Parisians were super nice, so they will love the fact that you're making the attempt, and they'll speak back to you in French, and I can't wait to be witness to that because I will not be speaking French. I'll be listening in French. But one of the things that I'm looking forward to is day 1. We kind of get to ease into arriving in France with a little bit of sightseeing on foot and then an evening dinner cruise along the Seine.
Yes. So exciting. I know there's a ton to do in Paris. I'm really excited about Disneyland Paris just because I feel like it's so cute to go see all the little different Disneylands in the world. I'm also excited about going to the Champs-Elysees. And when I say it correctly, it reminds me of that time that Dad was in Paris for a month and he's all like, I went to the Champs-Elysees. I'm like, what did you just say? because I am a know-it-all. And I will correct you.
I just know like there's no public restrooms and that mall. Yeah, you have to pay for them in Europe.
Oh, okay. As long as you can go.
Yeah, you have to pay like €1. They do allow you to.
Like, you have to go home every time you have to pee?
No, you just have to like pay €1 or find a place that you're like eating at that might have
Oh no. We are also doing Notre Dame, which I'm excited about. You want to do the catacombs, which I have said absolutely not. I am not going to visit a bunch of bones. But you're welcome to.
I just feel like I don't know. I'm with you in terms of graveyards don't need to be visited.
It looked like gross when I Googled it.
But I feel like it'll be a cool experience.
And I'll be waiting outside for you to enjoy hearing about you regale me with that experience.
Regale you with that experience.
But yeah, no, I don't do the spooky yuki, and that's how I know I'll never get haunted. So yeah, I'm like, I believe in ghosts, and I believe in spirits, and I believe in demons. I believe in all that stuff. I believe, though, that I will never be impacted by those things because I don't invite that in. I basically have a blinder on my face. I don't connect dots like that. If something spooky was happening in my house, I'd have some blasé reason to explain it away. I don't do no Ouija. I don't do no demons or spirits. So I'm not going to start now with the catacombs en Paris. So no, but yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Okay. Well,
okay. We're also doing the Louvre. Cool.
Yeah. Part of the Louvre experience will be reenacting Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's characters from Passport to Paris as they drone through the Louvre in slow motion. We will be those annoying Americans who are going to say every French word the proper French way. Oh. So we will be saying crepes, croissant, and Louvre.
We do that now, and people look at us freaking insane. I'm so glad you brought this up.
It's just us. You can say Buenos Aires.
No. I'm glad you brought this up because one of my pet peeves has been for 2 decades now, the way that Americans pronounce crepe. They say crepe, and I could forgive the blatant mispronunciation from every person I've ever met in my life, but what I can't forgive is that when I pronounce it correctly, they try to correct me. As if I haven't spoken French for the majority of my life. As if I haven't
I'm sure you can't wait to tell people
actual French teacher from France. I mean, I was gaslit so bad that one time I met a French person and I was like, okay, it's been years since I've heard someone say it correctly. Is it pronounced crepe? Have I been wrong? And they said, no, it's pronounced crepe. And then what has not helped my case, and I'm going to blame him directly, Gordon Ramsay. Why are you pronouncing it crepe? They're your neighbors. Okay, you're right there.
Taught in the French school of cooking.
Shame on you, Ramsay, because if you had said it correctly on all those episodes of Hell's Kitchen, I wouldn't be in the freaking trenches everywhere I go getting corrected. So yes.
Yeah, that reminds me of the time I was at an Italian restaurant ordering bruschetta, and they were like, "You mean bruschetta?" I said, "No, that's not what I mean." And if you fucking knew what I meant anyway, why would you correct me?
Why are you trying to correct me? Yeah. Exactly.
Like, if you understood, then why are you doing that? I wasn't going around when people were ordering quesadillas and saying, "Do you mean a quesadilla?" So shut the fuck up.
It's horrible.
Starbucks does the same thing when you order a croissant.
Yes.
Like, anyways, is there anything that you are planning to do in preparation beyond your immersion into French language? I think we should rewatch Passport to Paris.
Yes.
Classic Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen film. Honestly, under-recognized by many.
We should also watch Ratatouille.
Oh my God!
Yes.
That's such a good point. I have never seen Ratatouille.
And I hate you for it.
And not because I don't want to, but I just have not had the opportunity.
So good. So good.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Will you and I make Ratatouille while we watch Ratatouille?
That's a poor man's dish. And I actually don't know how to do that. So
Okay, well, let's make that a thing. Let's make ratatouille while we watch ratatouille.
there's so many different vegetables that go into it. It used to be a poor man's dish. Now it's probably a rich man's dish.
We're going to Paris.
Can we just like find a French place and order ratatouille? Like, do we have to actually go through the effort of making it?
It's essentially what, a chili?
It's a vegetable stew.
Yeah. Okay. So like, what's the ish?
But it has like I don't know. It was a cartoon of a rat cooking it. Okay, I don't remember what the hell he was making. It was cartoon vegetables.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. Fine.
But
So,
maybe you can make me ratatouille while we watch ratatouille.
Okay.
How about
So in the build up to our trip to Paris, we will be taking you all on a journey as we prepare for this trip by rewatching some favorite films, classics, some new films for some of us, not for others, and perhaps even getting, dabbling in some French cuisine. A little bit more explicitly than the croissant from Starbucks.
So we can tell how crappy it is before we have the real stuff. I like it. We got to have a comparison value.
I'm really excited for like just finding a cute little bistro and popping in and getting some French fare and like seeing what the weather's like, sitting outside, breathing in that gorgeous French air.
20 steps ahead, so you can't play me like no fool. I turn niggas to believers, let them go against this rule. I don't give my heart away.
I feel like a lot has happened this week, especially in music. I don't really know where we want to begin, but I think we can let's start with Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour. She postponed the announcement because of the wildfires, so everyone was waiting for the tickets to go on sale. It sounds like they went on pre-sale this week. And
everyone is
pissed.
They're like, what the hell are these prices? Now, I can't go. So I don't know what to say about it. But what was funny is that before the tickets actually went on sale, everyone was like, I don't care what the price is. I'm going to pay it. Man, that tune changed quickly. On my FYP, they are pissed. Now they still bought them, but you know what was funny is remember when we were looking for tickets for Kendrick's concert, and they were like $500 or something, and we had agreed ahead of time on a $300 price. When you get in there, the anxiety is flowing so hard that you almost lose your mind a little bit, and you're like, okay, $500, like okay, yeah. Luckily I didn't purchase it because that was not what we agreed on.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of people regaling or like recounting that same type of sentiment where like, they were like, we agreed on the price. Then all of a sudden it was $1,000. The group chat did not listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her tickets were expensive. Everyone's mad. But I would totally go if someone wants to take me.
Oh, how generous.
But in new album releases, a lot of releases happened this week. Just really quickly, 2 Chainz released a new album with, I think his name's Larry June. I hadn't heard of him before. But 2 Chainz is one of my top 5 for sure. And I listened to the new album. It's great. I loved it. It's very, very chill vibes, very cool guy vibes. I think it's called Life is Beautiful, and it's Larry June, 2 Chainz and The Alchemist as a producer. Very good, easy listen, 36 minutes. Thanks, Chainz.
Okay.
Also, Sabrina Carpenter released her Short and Sweet Deluxe, so additional songs to her Grammy Award-winning album.
Okay.
I think she did win Best Pop Album.
I haven't listened to the 2 Chainz album, but it's on my list. I love that runtime.
Yeah, easy,
Just
breezy,
like how
beautiful.
many tracks are we talking about here? Let me take a look.
I think it's like 11. It's not too many. It was very easy to listen to. I did it, honestly, while I was on the Stairmaster.
We get it. You work out.
Results, not really showing, but I still go.
You're so good.
And then Sabrina Carpenter's Deluxe was good. So yeah. Now we need to get into what everyone is obviously waiting for.
Yeah.
Drake and Party Next Door. Okay.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I want to kick this off by saying I texted you and I said, I'm going to listen to Drake's new album. A minute and 20 seconds later, I said, look, I'm not a hater, but this shit stank. And Grant, I'm not a hater. I am a Kendrick Glazer, as they say. I am. I love K-Dot. But I still listen to Drake, even throughout the beef. I have a very, very comprehensive gym playlist that is the best playlist in the world. It has so many different genres and mixes of music. And Drake is heavily on that. So I listened to that. And I still like plenty of his music. I don't avoid it. This was corny. Starting with the title of it, Some Sexy Songs for You, where the first S's of those words are dollar signs. I wanted to give it a fair shake of a lamb's tail. And again, a minute and 20 seconds in, I said, this shit stinks. Like, it was a tough listen. And I finished listening to it before we started recording today. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest, by the end, I looked at my phone, I'm like, oh my God, how many more songs? And it was the last one. And I was like, thank God this is over.
What do you think was the struggle when you were like getting into the album? Like, what was the disconnect for you?
The disconnect is that Drake is 38 years old. His fans all have 401ks now. Who is this made for? What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand what the purpose of this was. You know, it was just insane all the way around. It was giving very much like they wanted it to be sexual, but it was written by someone that's never had sex. Like, it was bad. So very just not good. It just wasn't good. What about you? What are your thoughts?
I think I should preface this by saying that I have always had a hard time following Drake's career, mostly because he releases a lot of music, a lot. And in general, like once I left college, I stopped chasing new music. Like I wasn't constantly trying to listen to like what NPR was recommending for me to listen to. So I know that I've always come to Drake's catalog a bit late. It took me quite a while to listen to Views. It took me a while to get to More Life. Once I did, I loved those albums. And so even before the beef, I would say like I have always had a healthy enjoyment, I would say, for Drake's catalog. I enjoy his music. Following the Kendrick Lamar, the Titan Wars of 2024, it has been harder to listen to Drake, primarily because I don't feel like I'm engrossed in his story. Like I'm not, especially new stuff. Okay, Certified Lover Boy, Scorpion, Her Loss, To All the Dogs. It's like, I can't keep track of your 20 song per album release. Like, I don't remember which album has this song. That I don't follow him that closely. And so when I started listening to this album, by the way, I'm only halfway through. I just finished one of the worst fucking songs that I've ever heard.
Which one? I wonder if it's the one of the two that I like.
Oh my God. We're gonna, okay, so I was listening to Nokia before we actually started.
I actually don't hate that song. That might be the one with the best beat and the one after that. I don't
hate that song. Let me go to this. Meet Your Padre.
Oh my God. I saw someone comment on TikTok. They're like, oh brother, another accent. Like,
it's just like, again, it's like, okay, actually I was thinking to myself in the later part of the song, I feel like the album is going to transition. So mind you, I've only gotten to this first part of this album. So Meet Your Padre was the last full track that I listened to, and it was atrocious.
It was really bad.
But it's like, prior to that song, everything sounded the exact same.
I kept having to look at my watch and say, did we transition to a new song? Or is this the same song that's just been going on for 20 minutes?
I feel like it was the same song. And I feel like there's this thing that like, the sentiment that I had listening to this album, specifically I'm only in the first half. But like the sentiment I've kind of walked away from is like what Kendrick said. I like Drake with the melodies. Drake, Party Next Door is also like I really enjoy his additions to some of these songs. Mm-hmm. Like Drake on Crying and Chanel, I really enjoy the beat choice and I enjoy the lyrical flow. Now, I don't think I've paid enough attention to the lyrics, but there's something cringy about a dude who's constantly talking about how he's buying women things and like upset with their reaction to it.
Right. It's or like, also like, oh, you're using me for my money, but I'm also wanting you to use me for my money.
Right.
And like,
all you talk about is the fact that you're fucking rich and that's what you think is like important. Like, honestly, bro, like women can make their own money, but like it's this weird vibe. And I get what you're saying about like, this man is almost 40 years old.
We are not going to the club anymore like that, Drake. Like,
no.
Please, like this is the same music I was listening to when I was in college. Yeah. He's just and I'm like, okay. where's your wife and kids, bro? Like, where's your house in the burbs? Like, it was a tough listen. I don't think I'll add any of those songs to my like songs except for maybe the two.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to really return to it, other than like I do like to give music a fair chance, you know. But like, it was really.
I think part of Drake's problem, even before this, is like we don't really get a chance. One, we don't get a chance to grow with him. We've known Aubrey Graham since his time as Wheelchair Jimmy on Degrassi.
I knew him. Don't call him Wheelchair Jimmy. I knew him before he was Wheelchair Jimmy.
We knew him.
I knew when he was hot ass basketball playing Jimmy Brooks with the unibrow.
Okay. We
dating Ashley with the balloon hair. Okay?
Yeah, okay. So before he was even in that wheelchair, okay, so we've known Aubrey Graham and him transitioning into Drake, the musical performer. Was great. And so it's like, but like we've grown up. So in some ways it's like we've kind of grown up with this person, and I feel like he's really good at creating vibes.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, you want your hanging out in the pool, you know, kicking it with your friends, island summer type vibes. Like, I can deliver that. You want your, you know, cruising in the car, just bopping around again with your friends. Okay. But it's like you said, like we have lives, we have families, we have 401ks. Like, we're not fucking doing that shit anymore. And I don't get the sense of like growth or maturity from him. And he really hasn't let us miss him. I think a lot of the commentary around like he never goes away. And so it's like, instead we're just left with, you have 1,000 songs and I really like maybe 20 of them. But the other remaining songs, like, I can't really remember. They kind of all start to blend into one another. And every now and then you give us a really funny meme moment. But it's a lot harder, I think, after the beef. And especially after we see people producing and creating albums. Kendrick Lamar, great storyteller. Even J. Cole, great storyteller.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you're in this echelon, it's like, what is it like for you to be a father? What is it like for you to be upset over the fact that like people you thought were your friends, you know, basically jumped on you this summer? Like, what? Actually talk about that stuff, and from a vulnerable place. Instead, I think Drake wants us to think that he's not bothered and he doesn't care, when we know damn well this motherfucker is bothered and cares.
Yeah, I do also feel like following the beef, I don't know if this was like, if I don't put something out, I'll never put something out. So I don't care. Like, this is not the way that I'd follow up if I had just been decimated for the past 6 months. I would make sure that I was putting out the bangiest of bangers. Like, y'all are going to come crawling back. And like, we did not get that. And yeah, he mentions on one song though, that his, you know, you heard it, that his feelings are a little hurt. You know, his little friends aren't checking in on him. He's really
21.
confused.
21. Can you do something for me? 21.
Period, boo.
That's what I mean. It's like he creates these memeable moments, right? He did Her Loss, and it's like, everyone remembers that album because it sounded really interesting that he was doing this back and forth with 21 Savage.
Like, 21. You asking to go talk to the ops for you? Like, what the heck? I will say though, you know this, More Life is one of my favorite albums ever. I think from top to bottom, it's so freaking good.
I'll accept every accent on that album.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, do you think that this album, like, if he had instead held off, instead of the week of the Super Bowl, following this lawsuit, like, do you think this album would play out differently if we had a chance to be like, where's Drake at? And like, he actually spent time mastering it a little bit more, or like mixing it up with different.
No, because I think Drake is delusional and he thinks this is good music. So I think that
Wagwan Delilah.
So yeah, absolutely not, because I think that he thought this was good and it's not. And so it's like, even if he waited, I would have been probably the best time to release it, because if imagine waiting a year and a half and it's this, I'd be like, oh
yeah.
Oh,
I still got half the album left, and then it's like, it's really don't want to. But
Party Next Door does a great job, though. So
it's been tough so far. I will say that. Like, there are a few beats where I'm like, okay, I really enjoy this, and like, I do think that the sound between his melodic R&B and Party Next Door, like, I think it's actually really nice, but it's a little tough.
I wonder if Party Next Door is really like, I don't want to do this.
I was thinking about that. I just had this visual of him
Please don't make me.
in the studio, like, waiting for his meal to come in and just like crying.
Please, everyone hates you. I don't want to be associated.
I'm in these streets every day, I can't get no rest. Early morning, niggas sleep, I'm running to the check. I put 1 foot on the floor and 1 foot on their necks. All this work that I put in, I earn my respect. Ain't believe me when I told them niggas I'm the one. I was putting in that work while niggas having fun. I'ma do this for the times.
We had talked about this years ago. When people posture or theorize about who Jack the Ripper was, I always thought that was so weird because I'm like, unless it was like Winston Churchill or someone, like we're not going to know who this person 137 years ago, unless they were a famous person. Finding out who they are, what does that matter to us? Like, so weird. Well, they found out who he was.
Solved.
Yeah, mystery solved. And when I was reading a news article, wink, wink, about this, they were saying that they had auctioned off one of the victim's shawls that had blood on it. So 100-year-old DNA that they then paid and tested independently, and they verified who Jack the Ripper was. And what was also somewhat interesting, I guess, is that it was a person that was a suspect 130 years ago. Okay.
The only thing telling about that story is that they didn't give a shit about women then, just like they don't give a shit about women today.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean auctioning off a victim's scarf? Who's buying that?
The person that's solving the murder, apparently.
and also, did no one else think of this?
Right. Because maybe they were thinking the way I'm thinking, like, who cares who the murderer was? It also reminds me of, I don't know if we had seen this in one of our true crime documentaries, or we just realized it after watching so much true crime, that like police investigators are very
Terrible.
bad at their job.
They don't
and they
know what
can't
they are.
solve anything unless it's a family member and they pretty much confess. Like, I mean,
or they plant the evidence.
yes, but like they are very bad at their jobs. But what I did find interesting was that the person, Aaron Kosminski, I think is his name, it has a figure in the Madame Tussauds Jack the Ripper exhibit. So he must have been a well-known enough suspect that they thought, let's wax figure this guy up.
Wow.
So
they even created a monument to this man who's going around killing
prostitutes. And he was
a
barber.
Going around
Whores.
killing sex workers.
Oh.
No. This man who was going around and killing sex
They're
workers.
sex workers today. Back then, they were prostitutes.
Yeah. I mean, again,
That's fair.
they don't give a shit about these women. So little respect that they're auctioning off victims' items.
Where do we get this guy's DNA? Maybe I should have done more research before I brought talking about this to the pod. Because, like,
why is he memorialized? Okay, regardless of the DNA thing, right? You're telling me that this Aaron Kosminski was made into a wax figure at a museum that people pay money to go see.
Apparently.
As a purported potential Jack the Ripper. It's like, why are we monumentalizing him? That's kind of sick. Unless it's a wax museum of all serial killers, in which case it's like, okay.
Well, they never knew he was the killer, so
Ed
it must
Kemper.
have been just like
It's just
that's also insane.
fucking giant.
Also insane. Yeah. Anyways, mystery solved for all you who are wondering. I hope that you got the answers that you were looking for.
All I know is I stay flying, never worry about a lane. Took it L and bounced right back because it's solid, don't complain. It's gonna happen to the best, might have to charge it to the game. You gonna listen, no you not. Either way, I'm getting paid. Cribbin' getting bigger.
Ken, let's get into our weekly ins and outs.
All right.
What's in for you this week?
I recently discovered Bob's Burgers. And I know none of you have probably ever heard of this very indie underground show, but I'm late to the game.
You are very late. 15 seasons, actually.
As the lesson of this episode probably has turned out. Late to Drake's albums, late to great cartoons.
Great adult
great animated
cartoons.
film, great animated television shows. So I finally got through Bob's Burgers
So good.
and was really just enjoying the ride, and I was really sad that I came to the end of it. And so I went to go watch a different series, and it wasn't hitting the same. I went from this really wholesome, family-oriented, character-driven, and also town-driven series to this like crass cartoon, and it was just not giving the same vibes. So I'm going to say that my in this week is Bob's Burgers, but I want to also highlight the fact that because I had finished that series and was looking for something else, I ended up discovering The Great North, which I think is like similarly themed. It's hard to get as entranced with something that's not Bob's Burgers, but that's what I'm gonna say is my in for this week.
I love it. You know how much I love Bob's Burgers, and when every Thanksgiving, I will love to watch the Thanksgiving episodes while I'm cooking or like after we eat. And it just always puts me in the holiday spirit. And I just, that show. And good news, this is a great rewatch show.
Which, I love to do.
I love to do it.
Love to rewatch.
Glad that I finally have another show to talk to you about.
Yes.
So,
what about for you? What do you have in for you this week, Kiki?
I have 2 ins this week.
Okay.
Number 1.
Yes.
Randomly discovered an indie underground artist.
Oh.
That I love.
Good. I don't chase those, so
Yeah,
I don't want to be too late to the game, so I am looking to you to put me on game.
I'm going to put you on game. Artist. And I'm a big, I try to keep up with the trends. This artist is going to make it huge. So it's good to get in on the ground floor. So you can be one of those people that's like, I'm so much better than you. I've known about them all this time. Da Vinci. Okay. DAE Vinci.
Okay.
Be smart enough to spell it.
Love the name.
Oh, such a great name. It reminds me of Givenchy. Just so luxurious, but even better the music, okay? Like, I know I just talked all that crap about Drake and not being old enough. This guy's young and he's fun. And even though he's in a different stage of life and, he's rapping about some things that I can't fully get. It
Never
makes me feel young.
Okay.
It's effervescent, if you will. So that is my number 1 in this week.
Okay.
Number 2, I think that doing fun things with your friends and then calling it a club, that's in for me. So this is coming from, I was talking to you the other day and you said, what are you doing tonight? And I said, I have book club. And you said, book club, what's book club? And I said, me and my friend read a book and we're going to talk about it. So, and it is a book club with 2 people in it. And you made fun of me and I said, well, what about your foodie club, which is you just going out to eat with your friends? And that made me feel like these are in for me this week. Just doing something like podcast club.
I feel like you're really misconstruing and downplaying foodie club.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I?
It's not just me going to eat with my friends. It is
it's going to eat with your friends on a regular cadence at pre-designated location.
It's a monthly cadence.
Cadence.
I only see these friends at foodie club. These are not people that
That's not true.
That is true.
For half of foodie club, maybe the other half, that's not true. Actually, that's not true in general. I know you hang out with these people outside of foodie club.
I mean, regardless of how often I see them.
Okay, but
the process, it's, sure, you can call it a book club.
I'm not denigrating it. I'm just saying that when I tell people and I say, I can't, I have foodie club this weekend, and they say, what's foodie club? I say, it's going out to eat with my sister's friends.
Okay, well, it's us selecting a restaurant locally and going to eat there.
I would let's leave it up to the listeners to vote,
So basically what's in for you is just doing things with your friends but calling it a club.
Yeah.
Okay, so like gym club,
except for I just go by myself. So
gym club, breakfast club.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Brunch club.
So what's out for you this week, Ken?
It's funny that you ask because when I was thinking about like what my ins and outs were going to be this week, I changed it up last minute. Originally, my in for this week was going to be budgeting.
Ooh,
I know, very boring. But, there's a sense of relief you get when you're kind of like at the beginning of the year, you're starting to plan things and you get a little bit of control. But then I was like, you know what? Actually, Uno reverse. Out for me this week is budgeting because why don't I just have an endless pool of money, Scrooge
Ugh.
McDuck style?
So true.
Why can't I just do anything that I want when I want to? Now, all of that said, I'm going to be responsible. I'm still going to budget, but I'm not going to love it.
No.
And so I'm just going to continue pushing myself to climb ever higher so that it won't feel as restricting as it is to have to plan and manage my life. But you know what? I could go back to making it an in. When I think about where the state of things are, it's like, maybe I got to save myself for what's coming.
Yeah.
But anyways, what's out for me is the fact that I just wasn't born with a trust fund and I have to budget because I don't have a money vault. I don't have money trees. That's a K-Dot reference for y'all.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty lame. It's bumming me out, bub. Bumming me out.
Yeah.
So as far as your outs, what are you thinking is out for you this week?
I don't even know.
What about these dogs, man? Just
They're
snoring
always
away.
in.
They're just snoring away.
What's out for me? What's really out for me this week? Not that I can help it. Sore muscles. Like, I don't even know if it's a sore muscle or if it's an actual injury at this point, but I am really over it. And I took an ice bath this morning. That wasn't pleasant.
What the fuck? That
Yeah.
sounds terrible.
It was pretty bad. I'll take a magnesium bath later.
It's like The Secret Garden. That kid in the wheelchair has to get take those ice baths.
Yeah. That wasn't helping him though. So
Classic.
I don't know why they were forcing him to do that.
Classic movie. Love that movie.
So we shall see. I think I have to get a massage. I think I get to get a massage.
Oh my God.
But it's not as fun when it's for injury.
Pain, yeah.
And also my so neat. My masseuse doesn't work at the studio anymore, so she's like a traveling masseuse. I don't want to get a massage at my own house. I want to relax. I want to go somewhere away from my annoying loud dog that I love dearly, barking and ruining my relaxation time. So I don't know. That's why I haven't gone to a massage in a while. But anyways,
yeah, I think injury is a good out. One of my
Injury
dogs
is a good out.
injured. It's gonna have to get this. Yeah, apparently torn ACL, has to get surgery, and yeah, so injuries suck.
they do.
I'm interested in one final word of advice that we can give our listeners, perhaps in the power move of the week.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned this a couple weeks ago that, this idea of creating a power move so that you can take the power back in a conversation with people.
Yeah, sometimes you're just talking to someone and you're just like, I don't know, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Or
Your vibe's off.
The vibe is off. You think you're something, and unfortunately, I just have to take you down a notch.
Yeah, I gotta humble
I gotta
you.
level set what's
Yes.
happening right now. You are not that guy, but I am.
And
That
I ain't having it.
Now, this approach is technically gaslighting. And I do want to say, I do care a lot about okay, I have a mind for unkindness, but I have a heart for kindness. And so I try really hard to, go with my heart of kindness. I don't like to hurt people's feelings. So this is going to kind of err on that side. But I think in person, if you're just really needing to get the power back, you can look at someone while they're talking to you.
Dead in the eye.
And then just point to your lip a little bit to let them know, quote, quote, that something's on their mouth while they're talking. Just takes them down a level, it interrupts their flow. So they have to wipe the invisible smuts off their face.
Have you employed this at all?
Not in a gaslighty way, but mostly because people don't take me down a notch anyways when they try. And I don't pick up on it if they are trying to do that, but I could be a little more intuitive. If I become more intuitive and I feel like I need to do it, I will.
I really love this. Like, I understand this, mind of, I'm going to call it the mind of cruelty, but the heart of kindness. Because I feel like there is this need for us, especially in 2025 in Trump's America, to humble men in general.
So true. Specifically
men. But like, we can humble other people, but priority number one is humbling men because they just have gotten out of pocket. So I love the idea of just like, you're out at the grocery store, someone's bothering you, talking to you about something, trying to ask you something, and you're just focused on their lip, honing in, and you're just telling them they got a little shit on their face. I love that, especially if it's focused and targeting men.
Yeah.
Specifically. And so I think in that vein, my virtual one is essentially just telling people that they're muted when they're not muted, but like in the middle of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, you're in a one-on-one, your boss is talking about something, you're feeling like they're not really listening to you, they're not responsive, they're just trying to steamroll that conversation. Maybe it's a coworker. Maybe the boss is a little too. Not in this economy. So maybe it's a coworker who you're working on a project with, or, just tell them that, oh, I think you muted yourself. Just mid conversation.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Center it back. Oh yeah, the last thing I heard you saying was this. Yeah, and just, get a little
that would be
quick moment.
Double good if they just said something kind of out of pocket. Like make them repeat it back.
Ooh, yeah,
so
yeah.
2 times.
Yeah.
2 times you said that. I love it. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So I'm interested in our listeners getting creative with power moves. I want to know, like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing to make sure that men are being humbled and that they are being, put in their respect,
elevated. Yeah. Oh no, you as our listeners are being elevated.
And you're being elevated.
Yeah.
Primarily white men are being put in their place.
Yes, for me, 92%. They're the least needing of being humbled. Okay, then cascading up from that is the order.
At the very bottom,
Black women do not need to be humbled.
Ever. In fact, they need to be elevated.
Exactly.
Gassed up.
Yes.
At every opportunity. Maybe that's another power move.
How to gas up a Black woman?
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about taking people down, but it's also about...
Oh, yeah. I love it. That is
that's
the heart of kindness speaking.
Yeah, sometimes I turn the volume down on the mind of cruelty. Occasionally, a little ember of the heart of kindness comes out. Well, I had a lot of fun with you.
Yes.
Catching up this week. A lot of fun stuff since the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week, same time.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
And yeah, looking forward to connecting with all of our Pretty and Pride listeners next week.
Stay pretty. Stay prideful. If you're Black.
I don't get my heart away. This shit hurt me every day. I get on my knees and pray. I'm trying to find another way. I gotta get up out this jungle. Niggas killing just to eat. And them lies ain't playing fair, so it's been getting hard to sleep. Said the streets ain't been the same. My last remembers to this game. My eyes been full of fire, cause my heart been filled with pain. In the